welcome back to our YouTube channel. This week's vlog, I wanted to do a catch-up vlog because I have filmed content all week. It's now Friday, but it's felt really disjointed and just, it's been a really strange week. We work at, remotely essentially, so on weeks when we're not together it can feel a little bit bitter, and there's been a few bits here and there that have just kind of contributed to that this week. So this is me doing a catch-up video, kind of looking back at the last week and also picking up on some of the things that we talked about in my last vlog with you all. So first off is, I have to start with this because it's hilarious. I had in last week's vlog, a core element I would say was the open casting. It was super nerve-wracking to do something like that. We'd never done it before, had no idea of how it was going to go, and that out of last week, the whole of last week, that just was the most sort of, it was a big thing, it was our moment, and it did not go to plan. I felt on that day like so flat after. I was like, oh my gosh, what a shame. Like, it's just frustrating because we get asked a lot to do like community stuff and to do outreach, and then when we do that it doesn't work. So I was like, what is going on? Anyway, I literally filmed like a 2-minute video in the studio, like gutted, put it on TikTok because I did say to TikTok I'll do a part 2, like this is the real genuine part 2. Well, it blew up, didn't it? And do you know what happened? My chickens came home to roost. I didn't get an email. Now, I did send an email, I definitely did, but I have never used Klaviyo before that occasion. I wanted to trial it. I wanted to trial this Klaviyo thing, and I was like, let's just give it a go. It didn't send to half the mailing list, or half the people that signed up. There was a glitch. I don't know what happened there, but we have now got somebody working with us on this because we definitely need to lean more into email marketing and also data capture on site and stuff. It's a really boring long story, but it's something that we don't do enough of. So that is another learning curve. Like, that has really solidified the need for that. The people who did get the email, it gets better. The people who did get the email got the wrong date. The 3rd of April, they said. No, the 3rd of April is our London community event, which has taken up, again, a lot of my time and effort and energy. So I'm like, that's why it's on my mind. Like, it's at the forefront of my mind. That's why I've not. Anyway, overarching issue here is we need someone to help us because we're still such a small team. We're trying to do it all and we really need to learn to delegate. So we are looking for someone to support us in our community. I actually posted this before all of this happened, but that again just was like, oh my goodness, if you don't know you need one now, you're never going to know because this is like screaming at you at this point. So really grateful for the whole experience, but just needed to hold my hands up because last vlog was like me really emotional, like, oh no, when actually, girl, it was you. It was my fault. So I apologise for that. The next thing, I've got a list actually because I feel like I've left a few cliffhangers and I didn't intend to do that. So the open casting fill, got to talk about that. The second thing is the cash flow situation. Cash flow is always really like difficult. It's one of the things that I think, you know, we're beginning to get better at. But initially, I suppose in the early stages, we did need to think about it, but like it was different. We didn't take a wage and we had a lot less commitment, whereas we've got more commitment now. So I would argue it gets harder as you grow, but equally there's a little bit more to play with as you grow. I don't know. Anyway, I don't deal with the money side of things, if you can't tell. It's not my bag. I do all of the fun stuff. But the refund has gone back in, so we have got that money back, which is amazing. And you know what? I actually have to say, really, as little stress as possible, as you can imagine, losing that much money. Like, it was fine. Starling were amazing. They really were. So happy with that outcome. And it's helped massively. Just gives you that sense of like, okay, don't need to cry at night because we've lost a little bit of money. Heavenly Hold launch as well. That happened on Sunday. So that again, like, I think I called it on the last vlog, bronze launch. Nothing too kind of like, you know, figures wise, wasn't anything wow based. It did well. It was really nice to see a lot of people going straight in for the bundles because I think it's funny. I personally think that relaunches have a bit of a perception in our industry. And I mean relaunches in like a redeveloped formulation because people think, why? I know I like the old one, but I would really honestly stress, if you haven't tried the new formulation and you're clinging onto the old one, this is better. It is better. The only reason we would ever change things is based on feedback and improvement. It's never ever because we're cutting corners, or, you know, like you hear of some brands where the viral products that they have amazing like results, and then they change the formulation to lessen the price, and then it doesn't work as well. It's nothing to do with that. This actually costs us more money, but it is beautiful. I've had it on all day today. I feel like my brows really need doing. But I think the two biggest key areas that we really wanted to alter when we looked at Heavenly Hold were the feedback on the hold. Sorry, I feel like that just didn't come out right. My words aren't working today. Basically what I mean is, people said, yeah, it's great, like the hold is incredible, that's what we wanted to deliver, but actually in some cases hold isn't what you need. Bear with me. After a lamination, you don't really need brow gel. But in the few weeks post-lamination, you want something that's kind of like that middle ground. This is the perfect product because it is buildable, and it is more buildable than the previous. Like, yeah. The other one, in my opinion, was a bit too crunchy for my liking, especially on a lamination, which arguably the biggest issue there is that you are potentially open to hair loss. And that is as a result of over-cleansing to get it off. I feel that after lamination, we've got to do what we can to care for our brows, and it didn't really resonate with us the more we kind of got the feedback on the product on different brow types and stuff like that. As we, you know, it gained momentum, we realised it needed to be a little bit gentler, but more buildable, and I would argue it's more flexible and gives a more feathery finish. That's my favourite way of describing it, because I think it really hits the nail on the head. That is what it's all about. And again, super easy to remove. I'm not here to sell it to you guys, but I'm just arguing its corner. The reason I mention it is because I think that contributes to a slower start. Like, people are a bit more like, oh, I want the old one back, but actually really give it a go. But it was lovely to see lots of people going straight in for the 10s because the clients have asked for it. Loads of people say to us all the time, when are you bringing it back, because I need it. So it's back and it's doing well. Stock on that is okay. Last week we also talked about stock situation. The stock situation is still really stressful, really stressful, because in getting Cloud Cleanser back in stock, it means the Essentials kit is back in stock. But in getting that back in stock, we also know that we're really low on Skin Blur, so we need to get that back in stock. So we've got a few areas that we're really trying to push for at the moment, but we are in the process of refining our rituals and redefining what that looks like. So certain products are changing in design, and there's new things coming into the range as well, so that has slowed down the process on certain repurchases. It's not as easy as being like, right, same again. We've changed packaging on some things. I'm giving all the secrets away, but I don't care. But what is really exciting is, this is probably, I shouldn't talk about this, but I'm going to. I have leaked this product because I love it so much. I just can't hold it in. It is the sort of product that the minute you get your hands on it, you have to showcase it. It's so beautiful. I also know what a labour of love it was, because getting a barrier right is hard, and it took us a really long time. Changing the formulation to change the colour is hard. Changing the colour to keep the texture is really hard, and going for a white colour is even harder. White, typically, it's very difficult to get something super pigmented. White eyeshadow, for example, is really hard to find, and yeah, we opened a Pandora's box. Just on the note of eyeshadow as well, people always ask us, can I just buy an eyeshadow? No, you can't, because eyeshadow has different ingredients to Second Skin. Second Skin is designed to sit on top of the skin, whereas an eyeshadow sort of binds. It's got more binders in it. It sort of blends more into your skin. That's the idea. And shadows you can build on top of and blend them together. And that's not the purpose of Second Skin. Second Skin can't be used like an eyeshadow, so please don't be using it on your night out. Not that you would, but you never know. It's just not an eyeshadow. It's purpose built and beautiful. And this new version, I am so excited. I'm spilling the beans too soon, but people have seen it on socials, but just know it is on its way. If I were you, I would continue to watch these vlogs, because if you want to know the dates, I'll be telling you probably next week. I'll get in trouble if I do it today. We don't have an official date yet either, but it's on its way. Treatment day, that's on my list of things to talk about, because I might insert a little bit of footage, because I was in Manchester on Wednesday and did back-to-back treatments. Hello, it's now 6:15. Today has absolutely whizzed by. I'm going to clean you, Russell, because you're a little messy. Wow, what a day. I've got one more client, and this client is going to be gorgeous because she goes quite red. Never before have I ever like been dead excited about my client going red, but we can use skin blur, so Mia's going to get some gorgeous content, and you'll probably see it on TikTok later today, because we can never wait to post it because it's just so good. My first probably back-to-back day for a really long time, but I absolutely loved it. Like, I love being creative, love being with the team. The only downside this week was that both Dan and I were super busy, so on normal circumstances we would be like chatting away and maybe having an hour here and there, but we didn't really get that this week, which was a shame. But we move. One thing I will say though about my week is that someone didn't show, and it was my first client of the day, which we all know is an absolute slap in the tits. Sorry YouTube, I'm probably going to get banned, but it is. Unless you've had it happen to you, you won't know. But it's annoying because people, yeah, I've rushed to get there. I actually was on the phone to Eon in the car beforehand, and I'm like, I need to go. And I got in and no one came. Anyway, the community lead role, I've kind of touched on it actually in when we talked about the open casting, because it absolutely really showed the need for that. But this week in particular, we've kind of delved a bit deeper into what that's going to look like, how many hours that is, where that role is going to be based, what kind of crossovers there are, which is really exciting. And it feels lovely to know that we're going to have a new team member. I keep thinking about like how well the team works now, and how like to have another person in our group is going to be gorgeous. I can't wait. That's so sad, isn't it? But I feel like it's just pure vibes when we're together. So another little person in the mix is going to be gorgeous. So that's really exciting, which has also led us on to talking about our new times and hours. I'm going to start my engine because my son's due soon and I really want to get off, and I have to put a code in my car to be able to drive. So there we go. The code has been accepted. Anyway, the new times and hours situation. So Dan and I have run this business. I'm going to give you a little backstory. So when we founded the business, I lived in Manchester, and Dan and I would visit each other's salons. It used to actually be easier for Dan to visit me, so she used to just come straight over and we would sit and we would literally like have pen, paper, and we'd be bashing stuff out. We'd be on the phone to people. It was so nice to be together. But at that time, the business was small, so our commitment to it wasn't like a Monday to Friday thing. Also, at the time, we were both salon owners. Dan still is a salon owner. Both educators in the industry, and both had very, very busy client bases. We were working multiple days a week when we first launched, so it was a lot. Then I decided to move, and that was around the time we launched. So we've always really had in our day-to-day this distance between us, which I think has hindered our growth in a lot of ways, but also it has allowed us to build a company that works for us. But we're sort of reevaluating what that looks like now, because as of 2 years ago, that was very different, and as the company's changing, we're kind of always checking with each other about what do we want. And this week has been one of those weeks as we look at who is joining us to sort of fill that customer service or customer community lead role. That has allowed us to kind of be like, right, okay, well, where does that leave us, and where do we need to be? If they're there, are we there, or where are you, where am I? Like, so we've had that conversation this week, and it's been quite a roadblock, I would say. In the week, it's felt like a little bit of an elephant in the room, because both Dan and I do have other things, and we also are quite precious about certain aspects of our way of working and our lifestyle, and we want to retain that. So it's been, sometimes when there's conversations that you really need to have, but they're just A, a little bit boring and a bit tedious, B, a little bit frustrating at times, because ultimately, when you're in a 50-50 business partnership, you're never getting what you want. You're always at a compromise, and that's fine. And I'm not complaining about that, but I'm saying that when it comes to scheduling and commitments, it's difficult. It's like, okay, let's see where we're at. So it's been a bit of a Wednesday to Friday situation, but I feel by the end of the week where we are now, we are way, way, way further on with all of that. And we've had a real good kind of conversation around how things are going to look for us in the coming months, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'm excited to be with the girls next week. This week has felt really mainly because of that issue and trying to figure out where our direction is and what we're doing. We're at like a pivotal point, I would say. But then also thinking about, like, I don't know, it's just tricky. I'm gonna speak for myself now. I love being with the girls in Manchester, but I don't live in Manchester. And despite me wanting to make it plausible and work, it doesn't work. I've done it before, and it's detrimental to the business, and it's detrimental to me. And if it's detrimental to me and my mental health, then that is detrimental to the business. So it's just about finding the sweet spot, really. And also accepting that you can't do everything, which I'm not very good at. So yeah, I think that this week has been really productive in that sense, that we've kind of hashed a lot out and we're ready to go again. But yeah, it doesn't take away from the fact that I want to be with the girls more. So who's to know? I know I posted a TikTok actually a while back about me moving back to Manchester, which was the intention, but my son's been offered an apprenticeship, or not offered it, but he's going for this apprenticeship. The company who run it, there's been some interest and conversations and things, so it's something he really wants to do. But yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I'm just letting Jesus take the wheel at this point. I actually need to take the wheel myself because it's now 3 o'clock. My son is due out of school, and we've got to be on the train in 20 minutes, and it takes probably 10 minutes to get to the train station, so he needs to hurry up. But thank you for joining me this week, or today rather, and catching up on what's happened at S&S this week. Next week we are in Manchester. We're in London. We've got our community event, so I will absolutely bring you with us. Bit nervous about it actually, because I don't know why London always is a funny one. It's a weird vibe. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for tuning in and catching up with me, and I will see you next time.